Headline was this. It says, on Wednesday, a stunning finding. Negative views of the Democratic Party outpaced positive ones by 26 points. 31 favorable, 57% unfavorable, and that's the highest ever in Quinnipiac's polling dating back to 2008. So Ken Martin's got a big job with it.
No question. I mean, the polls are a wake-up call for Democrats. Right now, they don't have a clear message in response to Trump, other than that they don't like Trump. And secondly, they don't have a clear leader. And so the selection of Martin is very interesting to me in that he is no radical. I mean, there were protests out there yesterday, Sunrise Group, some environmental group. They're pushing for leftist positions, especially on climate. Ken Martin and the Democrats right now, Democratic leadership, the people who voted, clearly they're moving toward the middle. They are still in the Biden mode in terms of what they want to present as a face to the American people. So what Martin had to say yesterday was, we're not Elon Musk. We're not radical and crazy on the right. We're not trying to impose tariffs or do anything. We want to make things work. We want to make cities work. We want to make your social safety net, your Medicaid work. We're not going to take it away. That's the Democrats' best message at this moment. It's all they got.
Yeah, well, Third Way has written a memo to, quote, every Democrat pondering a 2028 presidential run about staying away from the more radical ideas, saying this election conclusively proved that a Democrat cannot embrace the far-left groups to please the activists in a primary and then simply pivot to stances that voters actually like in the final months of a general election campaign. If you want to best position yourself for 2028, publicly distance yourself from far-left losing ideas. And when they talk about abolishing the police, wiping out every single student loan, declaring climate emergency, I mean, they were very clear on what they were telling future Democrat candidates to stay away from.
Yeah, the Democrats, I think, were culturally dominant for a very long time, backed by a lot of cultural forces for many, many decades, and got very hubristic about their positions. And now they have lost the pitch that we can make things work, because they demonstrably did not. A perfect example of this, and why I think the Democrats are so disoriented in this position at the moment, is that they lost a generation-long double-digit lead on trust in education from 2020 to now. It will persist because, as you saw, the national report card, the National Assessment of Educational Progress, came out this week with devastating results showing that students are not coming back from the learning loss that some of them incurred starting in kindergarten, who's being tested right now. That kind of thing is a marker in many areas of governance that Democrats have lost ground on, and gaining trust back will take a long effort, I think.
Well, and they, as we talked about last panel, are sort of overwhelmed by everything that President Trump and Republicans are throwing at them right now. But Congressman Jerry Connolly, Democrat out of Virginia, said this: they're going to stumble, they're going to screw up, and we're going to pounce when they do. In their haste to remake the federal government, they're going to make big, big mistakes. And Josh, we're pointing to some of that happening this week with at least the backtrack on that OMB memo.
Yeah, like, cuts can be popular, but when you're cutting essential services, Head Start, Medicaid payments potentially, that can also lose you support. It's often very important to not spend your capital too fast, because you want to, a lot of the stuff that Trump has been doing, as we've been talking about, is quite popular. But when you generate a backlash, you give Democrats something to run on. The one thing about the Quinnipiac poll that was so notable, the image of the Democratic Party is the lowest in the Quinnipiac polls history. So I'm not sure if it's all automatically going to be a backlash against Trump. Democrats actually have to have a positive message, and they have to run away from some of this identitarianism that you saw in that forum.
Yeah, and I think Republicans are at a high in the Quinnipiac poll, based on where they've been too. So as for that OMB memo, quickly, New York Times says that President Trump was angered by the media coverage. They were caught off guard at the White House. They were furious. They weren't read into the process over there.
Yeah, I think Mary Catherine hit the nail on the head on that, and that it stands out, right? I mean, the first time around, there was a whole lot of trying to figure out how these executive orders would actually be implemented. This time around, it is sort of in a category of one. Everything else has been relatively smooth. They've had to juggle this one a little bit. I will say, I love my friend Juan in trying to sort of wish cast the Democrats have gotten to the middle. If you watch that DNC situation for like 2 minutes, the middle was not to be seen.
Yeah, but I think if you look at DEI attacks this week from Trump, you understand how the Democrats might have a chance to come back.
We gotta go. More in pay-per-view during the